And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Or, the mining game. Or what? This is a game from Quick Simple Fun Games, and I gotta say, it's been a while since I've seen a Quick Simple Fun game, and usually they're smaller games, so this one interested me. I knew it was on Kickstarter. The thing that kept me from really being that interested in it is the people on the cover here just don't look happy. The whole thing is dour. It's like we went from those dour-looking medieval guys from the games about trading in the Mediterranean to dour-looking miners. Now, I know miners aren't by lot. This was a horrifyingly bad job. But I'm just saying. But anyway, I gave it a whirl. Let's see what we think. In this game, players are trying to get victory points, and you're going to get victory points by completing contracts where you will deliver the different resources up there. Players are going to start with 3 or 4 workers based on the number of players in the game, and they'll start with 1 ore of each of the types: lead, coal, copper, iron, and gold. Now you'll notice there's some cards here for each of these. This tells you that the value of lead, for example, is 1 to 4, while gold is 8 to 12. And you'll see a card up here. Right now the value of gold is 2. Whatever card is up, that's the value, of lead. The value of lead is that amount. And it also shows a mine that you will be able to go into to mine this lead ore. So there's one place face up there. And each round of the game, and there's 7 rounds, players are going to take turns placing these workers either on a worker action space on the board or on the top level of a mine. If the top level is filled, you cannot get anything, but each round, each player who's there will go down farther in that mine, and so as you move down, you open up spaces for other people. Now, the different spots on the board: if you go here, you get a drill bit token. When you get a drill bit token, when you go to a mine, you don't have to go to the top space. You can go to the second or third space here, because you can see those have drill bit tokens on them. You'll notice, though, that these spaces show a 2 on them. You need to go here and pay $10 to get your elevator to go into a 2 section. You can pay later on, upgrade it even higher to a level 3, because some mines, like this gold mine here, have a level 3 section. It's going to be giving you 4 gold. So going to the mine cage and upgrading will allow you to go down farther into the mine. And at the end of each round, wherever you are, that is how much of that particular ore you're going to get. When you get to the bottom of the mine, that mine, you're done, but so is everybody else. This card will be discarded. All the workers on it will be returned to the person, and you'll put out a new card from the pile, starting a new mine. Players can go to the private mine here, where they'll draw a mine. They'll take one of these workers and put it in, and their token to show that it's your mine here, your color mine, and you'll be moving your worker, this neutral worker, through this mine, and it's a mine only you will get stuff from. You can also go here and pay money to get an extra worker, although the first person to go there is going to pay more than everybody else. You can go down here to advance. First you go down here and get contracts. You're going to take a contract. This is a good way to get money. Each time you fulfill a contract, you're going to get a ton of money here. And if you fulfill all the contracts, you are going to get victory points at the end of the game. And that's, of course, of how you win. You get 1 victory point for every 10 money, so that's useful. But money is used for various things in the game, especially when you go here. You can buy or sell 2 resources at the commodity market. And you can use money to upgrade your mine cage. And you can get permits here. Permits are the other main way to get victory points. So when you go to advance orders, everybody can fill in this. So if I have, for example, 2 copper and an iron, I can turn those in. I'll put them on the card itself, and I'll take $23 as my reward. At the end of a round, after everyone has placed their workers, everybody is going to get all the stuff from the mines, and then you must fulfill the next line of your contracts. Whether you play advance orders or not, you must fulfill the next line. If you can't, then you're going to lose the contract, and you can lose points that way. But you want to make sure you have enough stuff that you can go down a line. Once you've filled the final line, you're going to put the contract in front of you that shows it's completed. But it also will allow you to play one or more of the different permits in your hand. Permits have a cost to them. So for example, this one you pay $12 or you pay 1 coal and 1 iron, and they give you some sort of ability. This one gives you a gold when it's finished, but they're also worth a point at the end of the game. So when I finish this contract, for example, I could play 3 permits. As long as I have the money and or resources, I can play those. That's going to give me extra points, and it's going to give me bonuses. Like this one gives me a gold. This one lets me play another building from my hand. This one fills up 1 row on one of my contracts. This one lets me draw another building card. So they're going to do various things. This one has no effect, but they all give points, and they're all very expensive. They're cheaper if you use the ore, but of course, if you use the ore, you get money, so it kind of turns out to be the same thing. That's pretty much the game itself. You have the money here. There's an overtime spot here, which will change depending on how many players are in the game. You can go here and do a spot somebody else has done. You're going to gather your workers back each turn, except for the ones that you put in mines. So each time you put a person in a mine, they're going to be producing ore for you, but it will give you fewer things to put out on the next turn. When you get to turn 7, the only difference there is everybody can place pretty much anywhere, even if there's another worker in that spot. And at the end of the game, you get victory points for your completed contracts. You get victory points for your completed permits, the buildings that you've built. And the mining cage, you get 1 or 2 points for that. And every $10 gives you a point. Whoever has the most points is the winner. I wonder, I got a copy of this game if it was a Kickstarter copy, because technically the game comes with cubes. This has like little ore pieces. I like the ore pieces better. Well, I mean, who wouldn't like those over cubes? They look more thematic. I said that the box itself has a dour look to it, but the board itself, it's still, kind of mundane. I mean, that's how coal mines look. But with all the ore and everything on, I really like it. I'm not a big fan of paper money, but card money, I'm perfectly fine with. I think that the contracts are really easy to show what are the different types are. The symbology is not really hard. It's just points and how many cards you can play. There's an end of the game scoring card, and then it tells you what to do on any particular turn. I like that the little workers here are screen printed on both sides. I think this game is very nicely put together. Good components. Ore is a worker placement game, but mixed with economic. That's really what the whole game is. It's about economic. You have to turn the different resources you get into money, which then translates into victory points. You want to complete those contracts, but you also want to make sure you have a bunch of buildings in your hand so that you can play those buildings. The only way to get those played is to also complete a contract. And it's really fascinating. I mean, there's some obvious stuff. Go for coal. Pick a contract that's coal. When you get a contract, you can always there's a spot you can go to, take the top 3 off the pile. I've done that quite often, looking for very specific contracts, because you want to make sure that you can finish these contracts if possible, so you get that money and bonuses so that they don't go away. You want to get those victory points. It's a big deal in this game. I really like the concept of mining here. You put someone in the mine, and that's great. You're getting those resources. But you're also not getting that worker to use in a future turn. One of the first things I've thought about was using my money is to get another worker, because you do that in most worker placement games, but it's quite expensive. And maybe it's better for me to get a drill bit so I can jump down a mine faster, or to get that elevator so I can go deeper in the mine. You also want to be the first person in the mine. You can go into a mine when someone else is there and get some things, but you will often in this game sit there and count, when is this mine going to be finished? Will I get the resource I need to finish my contracts? This game is not a complex game. You're putting workers down to get these contracts, to finish the contracts, to turn in the other cards. And in the meantime, you get drills to jump in farther, elevators to go down farther, and maybe that private mine. That's certainly, you might not think that's a big deal. Definitely do it in your game. But I like it. It's fun. It's not too long, so it fits this quick, simple, fun motif here. And I found it to be kind of fascinating. I'm a kind of a sucker for economic games anyway. Buy low, sell high. Well, here you're not buying low, but you are getting ore and selling it. And I'll tell you what, the amounts of money you get when you complete lines of contract feel like a lot of money. You're like, I've got $23. Now that money gets spent quite quickly, especially if you're going to use those building cards from your hand. They're very pricey, but it feels good. This is a game that gives you those bursts of satisfaction. I put a worker down, I'm going to be getting a bunch of stuff from the mine. I mean, the game's called Ore. You get ore. And then I use that ore to complete contracts and get Vuku's amounts of money. Ha ha ha. And then you spend that, of course. There's not as many points in this game as you might think. Scores at the end aren't dramatically high. But the game gives you those, like I said, those many, many points of satisfaction throughout it that make it worthwhile and fun. So if you like worker placement and you like economic, this is a good combo, one I enjoyed. Check it out. That's Ore, the mining game. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment approved.